I'm in Shenandoah National Park. This is Jewell Hollow Overlook, mile marker 36. It's a pretty large parking area. There's my little red car. And over this way is a little connector trail I hope will take me to the Appalachian Trail. I'm gonna find the Appalachian Trail and I'm gonna hike north a couple of miles up this way to the Pinnacles summit, and then continue on a little further, another mile maybe, until I get to Bird's Nest Shelter number 3. Oh, I forgot to call out the elevation. The elevation here is 3325. Okay, just so there's no confusion, there's the parking lot right there. You just come up this little trail. It's unmarked, unfortunately, but here's the Appalachian Trail right here. You can see the white blaze on that tree. There's concrete signpost. Says AT on it with information bands. And we're going to head this way, which is north towards Mary's Rock. Three-tenths of a mile into my hike. I'm up to 3350, and this is the overlooks right back there. You can see Skyline Drive right there. See that car go by? And this signpost here is for Leading Ridge Trail. This trail goes up a little ways and then it starts dropping. It's really, really steep, and it's about 1.2 miles from here down this trail to the park boundary. So if you're looking for something real steep to hike, this is a good one. There's no access at the park boundary though. It's all private property. I'm going to continue on the Appalachian Trail this way, heading north. One mile into my hike, and this is the peak elevation for Pinnacles. Pinnacles Peak. The elevation here, well, where I'm standing is about 3,700 feet, and the summit's probably that peak right up there, or maybe over here. We'll explore a little bit. I think there's some vistas out to the west. Anyway, Here, I'll do a 360 here at the summit. It's not a whole lot to see other than some trees with no leaves on them. There's really no part of Virginia that's above the tree line, strictly above the tree line. Mount Rogers is the highest peak in Virginia, and that's like 5,700 feet. And I've hiked that, and it's full of trees up at the top. So here we are at the summit. .2 miles into my hike. I'm still cruising along at 3,700 feet. And I stepped off the AT for a minute because there's a rock outcropping here. So looking to the west. And over there is Thornton Gap and Mary's Rock. And it's a little hard to see, but there's a saddle in between this mountain and that one over there. That's where the shelter is. We're going to the saddle. Bird's Nest number 3 shelter. But there's Mary's Rock right there. .7 miles into my hike. I'm down to 3,500 feet, descending into a saddle area, which is where the shelter is. And over there, straight ahead, is another look at Mary's Rock. I checked my GPS. That's 1.4 miles away, Mary's Rock right there. And the shelter's down here in the saddle area between the two mountains. Here's a look at the AT. That's heading north towards Mary's Rock. And there's where it came from. It's a little steep here, but it's a well-maintained trail. So let's continue on. Let's see, it's another about another quarter of a mile to the shelter. Not quite to the shelter yet. You can see it down there. I'll just point out on my approach to it, I noticed here's a wellhead. It's got a metal cover on it and it's chained shut so people can't get in there. I don't think they use it anymore, the well. I think they've turned off all the fountains and stuff up here. But anyway, there's the wellhead. And there's the shelter. Let's go down and check it out. Still haven't quite gotten down there to the shelter yet, but I'll just point out over here, I see some designated camping spots. They have those metal posts in the ground with the little triangles on them. And over there too, all along and through there is designated camping. So it's nice and flat. It's a little rocky though. Be nice for hammocks. All right, let's see if we can finally get to the shelter. Okay, there's a Bearproof locker. And here's a sign that says what needs to go in there. Food and drinks, even if they're in a cooler, including unopened cans, unopened bottles and pet food, all your toiletries, toothpaste, soda, wipes, sunscreen, all of it. You can also hang your food and stuff up there in a bag up on that bear pole. This is Bird's Nest shelter number 3, and look at that great big copper lightning rod. There's another one over on the other side by the chimney. Man, that's some thick copper wire going down to the ground too. Look at that. Try and keep the lightning off the shelter. Bird's Nest number 3. .1 miles into my hike, and this is Bird's Nest shelter number 3. The elevation here is 3260. I'm going to walk in here and see if my camera can adjust. It's pretty dark inside here. These are three-sided shelters. There's a platform that gets you up off the ground a little bit. A lot of the shelters, the fireplaces have been bricked shut, but this one's still in use. In fact, I can smell burning wood. And if you look real close, you can see it's got one of those arms that swings in and out of the fireplace for cooking. And there's a logbook up there. I might take a look at that and see what it says. A mantle. And here's looking down through the shelter the other way. These are beautifully built, massive stone and concrete. And if you look carefully at the concrete there, you'll see those little round holes. They can insert stuff into these and close them off if they want to. But this one's open. It's got a picnic table there. Down there's another cooking fireplace. Here's another bear pole. So this is really a pretty nice area here. Now in the summertime you won't be able to see anything to the west. That's looking to the west. You won't be able to see anything, but right now you can kind of see down into the valley. Over there's the outhouse. Most of them have been converted into composting privies, so we'll go over there and check that out too. Okay, here we go. One of these composting privies. It's got 2 halves. The outhouse right now is sitting on the left side. You go up there and use that, and when that gets filled up, they slide that over to the right side and swap it with that little slanted roof. And whichever side is not currently in use is being composted. So that's how that works. And there's usually I'm not going to bother going in there, but there's a bucket in there with, usually it's got wood chips or sawdust in it. And after you do your business, you throw some, you throw a scoop full of sawdust or wood chips down in there, and that mixes in with it and helps with the composting. I think at this point, they've been doing this over the last 2 or 3 years. I think at this point, just about all of them in the park here have been converted to this type. There's the shelter, and looking back where I came from, that's the Pinnacles up there. And Mary's Rock is this way, except you can't see it right now. Too many trees in the way, even without the leaves. And that white blaze signifies it's the Appalachian Trail. There's the AT, an old outhouse. Over that way is a camping area. And back to the shelter. In case you're interested in some of the camping spots, that's a pretty nice one. I like that. The sun's low in the sky, so probably not the best conditions to film in, but anyway, that one's pretty nice. And there's another one over here. This spot here. And then there's some more over there, over this way. And then back over there is the shelter. So there's some nice little spots over here. Some of them have gotten kind of overgrown though. You have to clear out some of the brush and the leaves to make yourself a comfortable spot. .1 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3710. I'm running along the ridge line. I'm not quite back to the good overlook, but this is one not quite as good, but thought I'd take some pictures from here also. There's Mary's Rock. And looking to the west. Pretty nice view from here. It's kind of a precarious spot though. You got to be a little careful. I don't want to fall off into the abyss. And on the other side of the Shenandoah Valley over there is the Massanutten Range. .2 miles into my hike, and we're back to the good overlook. It's got a better rock outcropping. It's a little bit safer. So here's your one last look at Mary's Rock right there. There it is, that little bump. Sorry for the camera jiggle, but that's a high amount of zoom. Yeah, so there you go. While I'm playing with my zoom, I think I'll show you that little town down there in the valley is Luray, Virginia. There isn't a whole lot there, but it's a nice little place to visit. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Thornton Gap 1994. And I hiked the Appalachian Trail up to the summit of the Pinnacle and then on to a shelter called Bird's Nest number 3. This red line is Skyline Drive. And I parked right here at the Jewell Hollow Overlook. This is approximately mile marker 36. And when you park your car, if you go down to the end of the overlook, you'll see a little unmarked trail. Get on that little trail, and it takes you into the woods about 100 yards, and then you'll find the Appalachian Trail, which is blazed white. So you get on the Appalachian Trail and basically follow the AT. I highlighted it in yellow here. This is all uphill until you get up to here. This is the summit, and just a little bit past the summit, right in here, is where where I took some pictures, like an overlook up here. There's a rock outcropping here. You can get some pretty good views to the west from here. And then I continued on. This is a downhill hike here, down into this saddle area in between two mountains to Bird's Nest shelter number 3, right here. Now, this is as far as I went, but if you continue along the Appalachian Trail another couple of miles to the north like this, you'll end up at Mary's Rock. But anyway, so I took a bunch of pictures of the shelter. They have these new outhouses called Composting Privies that they're putting in. So got some shots of that. And the camping area, in case you want to tent camp. And then back up the hill here. Took another look at the overlooks, and then back down the side of the mountain, back to my car here, Jewell Hollow Overlook. Ended up being about 4.2 miles and about 1,000 feet of ascent. So it's only if you just go from here up to the summit, right here to the overlook, that's, let's say, 500 feet of ascent. But the problem is, if you go on to Bird's Nest Shelter, then you have to go down this side of the mountain and then back up again. So that brings your ascent, it doubles your ascent number. So that's a real nice hike. The weather was perfect today. It's a late fall day, and the wind was calm, and it was about maybe 50 degrees up there on the mountain. And that was the hike for today.